Good morning. I'm very excited to talk to you about the subject today. There's a couple of concepts that I really want to cover today, and I want to start from the very beginning by talking about the concept of radical responsibility. This is actually the core of all the work that I do with my clients, and that is the idea that you are ultimately responsible for your experience in life. Now, people get a little squirrely here because they begin to think, well, I didn't cause that person to do that thing to me, or I didn't cause the weather to happen the way that it is, and yet I'm still affected by that. How is that radical responsibility? Well, it's radical responsibility because you are responsible for how your experience of that thing goes. You are responsible for how you respond to the way that the world is behaving to you and around you. You are responsible for your experience of what the weather does, or what the earth does, the natural forces that are constantly happening in the world around us. And sometimes they're very terrible, and sometimes they're really, really wonderful. But the moment that we give over our sense of responsibility to those things, then we sacrifice our ability to be in control of our own lives. We say, in essence, what we say is that if it's raining, then I'm going to be sad. And if it's sunny, then I'm going to be happy. And if that person speaks to me in a kind way, then I'm going to be happy. And if they don't speak to me in a kind way, then I'm going to be sad. Right? And so that means that everything else in the world is actually responsible for how you feel. And I just don't want to live that way. I don't know about you. I want to live with radical responsibility because I want to be the one who owns fully my sense of my experience in the world today. It's a glorious world. It's a glorious life. And there's many, many, many terrible, terrible things that happen in it. But I don't wish to have my experience or my sense of myself pegged or connected in a way to everything else in the world. Now, this also brings us to the next two concepts, which is the difference between boundaries and borders. Now, when I talk about boundaries, what I'm really talking about are the rules of engagement. Boundaries are created with intention. They are created and communicated with those around us or with ourselves. And here, let me give you some examples. For example, if you don't like being around people who lie to you, well, then what you're really saying is that there's a boundary here that you would like to have be in place, and that boundary is expressed like, I want to be around people who are honest and earnest and sincere with me, who are authentic with me, who hold their word and who hold their commitment, so that I have a sense of security about that relationship. You see, that's a boundary. A boundary for ourselves is like saying, you know what, I don't want to put junk food in my body because what I notice is that sugar really brings me down. Sugar makes my body inefficient. It makes it so that it doesn't operate the way that I'd like it to. And in fact, what that tells me now is the way that I would like it to operate is in a more efficient manner. You see, boundaries allow us to focus our flow of energy so that that focus begins to move in the direction of our desires and then move in the direction of the vision that we have for ourselves. We can focus our energy. We can focus our creativity. We can evolve and grow. The boundaries allow us to operate, that they're the rules of engagement to allow us to operate in a way that is healthful and supportive of our vision and our interests and desires in life. On the other hand, borders are limitations. Borders confine us. Borders hold us in and don't allow us to get out of a space. It's the box that we often find ourselves contained in. It's like a jail cell. Borders keep us small. They keep us from growing. They keep us from being creative. For example, a border might be, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how. I'm not very smart. I'm shy. I'm shy. Or I'm overly talkative, and they won't like me. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. You see, these are limiting beliefs. They limit the creativity that we have. They limit our ability to grow and evolve and create and reach for the vision that we have for ourselves and for our lives. Now, the problem with borders and these limiting beliefs is that oftentimes we don't see them. They become a little bit opaque or invisible in our lives. And so we begin to assume that they are a reality, that they are our reality, when in fact you we have created those borders. We were born into these bodies, and sure, there's a boundary on this body, and it's called the body itself. It requires oxygen, for example. And so if we're in a space that doesn't have oxygen, well, then it's going to go really badly for us. So it's not very healthful, and it doesn't allow us to focus our energy. But if we say, I'm not going to go diving because I'm afraid of what's down there, well, now we're limiting our ability to go under the water and see the magnificence of this beautiful, beautiful environment that's down there. Now, maybe that's not your vision, so you don't have to go diving, but you see, if you don't have the border on there, then the possibility or the option remains open. So I invite you to begin to reflect upon your own life. Take a little bit of time, maybe journal today, maybe reflect on it during a walk or a meditation, and ask yourself, where in my life do I need boundaries, or would I like to have communicated boundaries so that I can focus my gorgeous energy on being creative and evolving and growing? And then the other side of that question is, what limitations am I experiencing? What borders am I experiencing that hinder me? What underlying or limiting beliefs am I experiencing that hinder me from achieving my goals, from reaching for the vision that lights me up? If this resonates with you, reach out and let's together discover with kindness your life without those borders.